What's up, everybody? Hope you have an amazing day so far. I'm your host Phil, and today's video, as you can see, we're gonna check out some Marshall amplifiers. Let's roll the intro clip and then check out what it's all about. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marshall RIFF-FEST. You already read the title, you already know what to expect. I got 4 Marshall amps over here, and we're gonna riff a lot through them. We're gonna check out what these amplifiers are all about. Now, technically, this is not supposed to be a shootout against each other. You know, all of these amplifiers are unique in their tonal characteristics and they sound very different from each other, so it's not really a versus thing. However, I do believe that based on how I'm gonna set this up, that you can kind of extrapolate what the amplifiers are doing, what are their special tonal characteristics, and then kind of compare them to each other. So, let me explain first what we got signal chain-wise over here. We got this guitar, which is the Solar 2.6 ALN with the Black Heaven Lundgren pickups. Fantastic guitar, my favorite guitar by far by now, especially because of the pickups. That then goes into this pedal board over here, which has quite some boosts over here. Picture is gonna be in the video. Currently, no boosts are engaged. If I'm gonna engage a boost, I'm gonna let you know. In the effects loop, so that's the back row, we got the ISP decimator G string 2 on at all times, and then if we need to, we can activate chorus, EQ, and delay. Amplifier wise, we got 4 amplifiers, as you can see. We got the Marshall JVM410H, the classic, the flagship model of Marshall's current lineup since nearly 20 years. Fantastic amplifier, I love this so much. This is kind of becoming one of my absolute all-time favorite amplifiers throughout the last months. Really digging this so far. To my right over here, perhaps your left, is the Marshall JVM410HJS, I believe it is, or yeah, it is the Joe Satriani model. Fantastic unit as well. Very different from the original JVM, but you're gonna hear that in a moment. Next up, over here, we got the JCM2000 DSL 100 watt. A beast of a unit, very, very classic Marshall-y, if you would ask me, like a little bit more like a classic Marshall on steroids. It's actually not like a classic Marshall, but you kind of get the idea. Really cool stuff, easy layout, has 2 channels, does the thing really well. And then last but not least, we got the Marshall TSL 100 from the JCM 2000 line. This has been upgraded with the Brad Guitars Garage PCB because that was prone to the bias drift issue. Last piece of the signal chain is this microphone over here, which is stuck to my beard. I totally own this. I want to have pristine voice clarity wherever I'm looking at, so that's why I got this over here. I don't wear hats, so I cannot put it on the hat. You gotta live with it. Hopefully it's not looking too stupid, but I totally own it because it is well worth the stupid looks. Okay, how I set this up over here is that basically I set each and every channel of these amplifiers already up with my favorite tone, and we're just gonna go through the respective amplifiers channel by channel. I'm gonna explain a little bit, eventually engage a boost, let you know what's going on with that, and then kind of explore the tonal possibilities. Sometimes there's gonna be a back and forth. For example, if we're gonna check out the OD1 channel on the Marshall JVM, of course, we want to put that into comparison of the OD1 channel of the Marshall JVM Joe Satriani, and so on and so forth. We're gonna kind of freestyle this over here. I have no script whatsoever, so let's just dive straight into that one. Quick interruption from Phil from the future over here. All the tones which you're about to hear in this video are also available via a NAM pack, which I just released on my coffee shop. There's also going to be a teaser pack on Tone 3000 where you can get these tones. So go ahead to both of those links. The coffee shop's going to be over here on the screen. I would highly appreciate anybody supporting me on my endeavor and purchasing the NAM pack or maybe some of the other things which I offer on my coffee shop. With that out of the way, back to the video. All right, let's kick off the Marshall RIFF-FEST first with something a little bit tamed, the clean channel of the JVM410H, which is a fantastic, very, very decent sounding clean channel, to be honest with you. Let's have a listen to this one. So really good sounding, clean channel. If you dig a little bit harder, you can get into edge of breakup. There's also an orange and a red mode, but as I said, each channel, one mode. Otherwise, this is gonna get too long. So I'm gonna engage an TCL Electronic Nova repeater and the Wazacraft CW2. So really awesome sounding combination. What can I say? Really, really good sounding combination. Let me turn off the effects pedals over here and let's move over to the crunch channel, which is kind of the disappointment of the amplifier because allegedly this is supposed to be kind of a JCM800 sound. I do not really feel kind of remembered of that tone when playing through this. Now, when I go over to the JVM Joe Satriani, which I'm going to do right now, which is also currently on the crunch orange mode, that in fact really does sound a little bit like I remember a JCM800. Really, really good sounding, especially if you engage a tube screamer like I'm doing right now. This channel sounds killer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to the original JVM on the crunch channel. Still leaving the Maxon OD808 engaged. It's not necessarily a bad sound. I could go ahead and take a little bit of that spiky treble out and boost the gain on the OD808 a little bit more, and let's see what we get. We're getting closer that we get a really usable tone. I can now go ahead and, in addition to that, engage the Electric Eye Audio Mud Killer. However, this is not now boosting. I disabled the boost functionality, so it's only doing tone shaping stuff. Definitely sounds better. However, still feels a little bit stiff on that channel. This is something with the JVM in general. Okay, let's move on to OD1, which is kind of the holy grail channel, especially on the orange mode. And yeah, this one without any boosts, I disengage everything, sounds absolutely killer. Damn, that sounds nice and chunky. Let's go ahead to the OD2, which is basically just a little bit more scooped, some low end shaved off for an even tighter sound, a little bit more percussive, but not as full as the OD1. I'm just gonna flick around these two channels. Awesome sounding channels. So this is kind of for the mellow blues jazzy player. This is over here for the rock and heavy metal guys. Absolutely kick-ass sound. This is why I really love this amplifier. Let's move over to the Joe Satriani over here. We're going to start with the clean channel again. A little bit different characteristics than on the original. So we're still on the Joe Satriani. A little bit more compressed, the Joe Satriani clean channel. Let's engage the delay and the chorus again. Yeah, I personally like the clean channel of the original JVM more, but this is still a very, very usable sound, and I can see why Joe Satriani would love this, especially with his type of effects and the way how he plays. Also has to be able to, you know, like do single note stuff on the clean channel, which is definitely something which you can do better on here than on that one. That sounds a little bit fuller therefore. Okay, going over to the crunch channel, as I said before, kick-ass channel, especially if you engage a boost. Let's go with a Boss SD1 in the classic setting. Let's move over to the Maxon. Yeah, man, this definitely is something made for the Maxon OD808. No question about that one. Sounds absolutely kick-ass. Okay, let's move over to the OD1 mode on the orange. Very similar to what we had set up over there. However, this is a little bit more mellow, a little bit, you know, more boomy, I would say. Very nice for lead tones. This channel is actually set up for lead tones, and over here the OD1 and OD2 are exactly the same channel, duplicated. Yeah, so OD1 right now is set up for lead tones, OD2 is set for metal tone. Beautiful tone for lead stuff. Very, very, you know, I mean, I'm not that good of a lead player. Let's go over to the OD2 mode, which is currently set to the red mode. Now, this is very capable of doing metal even without a boost, actually. Yeah, but it's a little bit, you know, like fuller, but therefore a little bit muddier than the, you know, like OG JVM. Let's go ahead to the JVM on the OD1 channel. And now to the Joe Satriani on the red mode OD2. I mean, they sound both fantastic. For me, this is a little bit more tighter metal, fatter rock. Okay, let's go ahead and engage the Electric Eye Audio Mud Killer, which is now just tone shaping the OD2. And that's where the Joe Satriani amp is getting very interesting. As soon as you go ahead and even take more of that boominess out with the mud killer, and you then enhance the gain a little bit, now things are getting really interesting. That's a little bit much gain. Let's dial that back to where it was before. Damn, that is a really, really, really nice tone on the Joe Satriani amplifier. Okay, let's disengage this and move on to the JCM2000 DSL. Now, first, let me go ahead and click on that. This amp is now engaged. We have two channels over here, the Ultra Gain and the Classic Gain. Both sound incredible in their own right. I'm first going to start with the Ultra Gain because that's a thing where I more or less live on. Together with the Maxone OD808, fantastic sound. That's awesome. Man, this is kind of how I, how I have Marshall in my mind when I think about fucking metal, man. This is exactly the sound which comes to mind then. You can now go ahead and adjust a little bit more gain with the Tube Screamer. That brings a lot, nice saturation with it. You could also enhance the Ultra Gain slightly a little bit. Let's go ahead and actually dial back the OD808 to the classic setting and use the Ultra Gain over here and pump that up. Yeah, man, that sounds great. But I like it when it is a little bit tighter, so the setting which we had before, but still let me engage the Ultra Gain 2 and dial back the gain a little bit, but still with the Maxone OD808 engaged. It's kind of on the brink of becoming too much, but still very nice, full and fat. Okay, let me dial back Ultra Gain mode 1 with the gain as we had before. Let's turn it off, like the Maxone OD808. Fantastic rock sound. Now the mode 2 without the boost. Possibly some room to dial back the bass and enhance the treble and presence a little bit. Maybe a tad more mids as well. Still a little bit boomy, so we're gonna go ahead and dial the Mud Killer, but again, only tone shaping stuff. Really good sound. Okay, now one last test before we go to the other classic gain channel is Ultra Gain mode 1. We're gonna crank the gain quite substantially, roll back those mid, bass, and treble settings. So, like so. Okay, perhaps you cannot see that. And now I'm going to go ahead and add as well the Maxon OD808. So we're stacking both the Mud Killer and the OD808. However, only tone shaping stuff on the Mud Killer and then into Ultra Gain Mode 1. Man, I'm blown away each and every time I really get into the weeds on this app. Let's move over to the classic gain channel, and this is what I really like when having the Maxon OD808 engaged. You get a nice classic, I would say, like mid-80s Maiden type sound. I personally feel over here right now that it's a little bit boomy because perhaps I'm so close to the speaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage more mids, maybe take out the deep, but therefore crank the bass substantially. I hope it's not going to sound too anemic. Okay, let's go ahead, dial back the bass, put in the deep back on. Yeah, it always has that boominess to it when the deep is engaged. Yeah, maybe I gotta mod it like Kyle Bull had with his one where you got the knob instead of the button. Let's move over to the TSL because that one is really cool and really special at the same time. I'm first gonna go ahead with the crunch channel and no pedals engaged. No pedals engaged? Yeah, no pedals engaged. Okay. It does a really good job in retaining that classic Marshall tone without getting too boomy. Sometimes the DSL is a little bit too much when the deep switch is pressed on. Over here, it's always very nicely balanced, but sometimes it could be a tad more low end. However, the bass is cranked up over here and the deep switch is engaged on the channel. So that is all done. So let's play a little bit around. I'm first engaging the Mud Killer to tighten it up even a little bit more, kind of preparing it for the full metal stage. And I think that if we now engage the boost of the Mud Killer, that is actually also a very good combination. It could, you know, like have a tad more top end. Let's go ahead, dial that in. Gain is completely maxed out, so maybe let's roll that back so that we have a little bit more headroom on the gain side of Yeah, really good stuff. Let's engage the Maxon OD808 and disengage the Mud Killer. I feel that the Maxon OD808, it is a little bit too bloomy in that regard, so let's turn off again the boost on the Mud Killer, but have the tone shaping options engaged. A little bit scratchy in my opinion, so gotta move back that treble. Maybe take out a little bit of the mids just to have it a little bit more metal, and then some less presence. Really nice sounds overall. Last test, Boss SD1. Nah, I'm not a fan of the Boss SD1 in general. Yeah, I'm more of a Maxon OD808 type of guy. Okay, let's go over to the lead channel of the JCM2000 TSL 100. A really good sounding channel in my opinion, especially if you boost that. We're going to check that out in a minute. First, without any kind of boost, everything's disengaged. Yeah, definitely a little bit too muffled. Yeah, I'm just going to leave everything as is, and we're first going to check out if we can narrow that down with the boosts. Again, the Electric Eye Audio Mud Killer was a very good boost for this amp so far. This time again with the overdrive functionality enabled. We can dial back the gain quite a bit because it's a little bit too much. Great sound in my opinion. Disengaging the Mud Killer, checking out the Maxon OD808. nice, chunky sound. Very different than the DSL. Let's go back to the DSL on the Ultra Gain Mode 1 again, with a little bit of a mid scoop, and yeah, the deep switch engaged. Okay, so similar to the first start, I'm going to leave the Maxon OD808 on because it works on both of these amplifiers and channels really well. We're still on the TSL first. So again, quite different sounding amps, kind of like the JVM and the Joe Satriani. They're not really the same amp. They do have some, like traits which are similar, but they are their own thing in the end. And that's why I love all of them, because they all have different properties, different technical things, like which they bring to the table. And variety is the spice of life. It really is. And, having 3 Marshalls in your collection is also pretty cool. I got the DSL, the TSL, and what actually was supposed to be the QSL, the Quattro Super Lead, but then became the JVM. So awesome stuff which I got over here. I'm super blessed to have all of these amplifiers in my possession, except for the Joe Satriani. When it comes to Marshall amplifiers, I would consider myself set for life. So which tone out of this video did you like the most? Which combination was your favorite? Let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to nerd out with you people out there. And if you have, like some recommendations or some tone secrets which I have to check out, then let me know as well. I'm always eager to learn more about these amplifiers. Really digging them so far. I'm considering modding the JVM a little bit, but let's see what the future brings. If you like the tone of the JVM in general, there's a Neurlamp Modeler profile pack, which you can buy down below in my coffee shop for $19.99. Has 48 profiles, I believe it is. So ton of different combinations of different channels. Kind of covers the entire palette with a lot of different overdrives as well. So cool stuff. Yeah, I really like all of these amplifiers. If I would have to only pick one, it would be really tough. But I think it would be between either JVM or the DSL. The DSL kind of, touching my heart a little bit more, but the JVM definitely being the more versatile choice. The TSL is also, however, a fantastic amplifier with its own, pros and cons in that regard. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you want to see more of this type of content, let me know down below. And we're going to see each other hopefully in the next video. Until then, keep it metal.